Welcome to the Sacred Rebels podcast. This is your host, Tay.
And co-host Amy.
We're the podcast that fearlessly dives into the depths of holistic healing. Join us as we empower you to embrace your divine journey, confront sexual trauma, conquer addictions, and rise with confidence with life after trauma. It's time to unlock the sacred rebel within and enter a transformative path to self-discovery and healing.
We are here to trigger you. By shattering stigmas and questioning societal norms, join us as we explore diverse stories of men and women showcasing that there's not one way to heal and the importance of community. Together, we will navigate the evolving human experience, embracing paths to growth and understanding. Let's heal, baby!
Hey y'all, welcome back to Sacred Rebels. This week we have Aspen on. We're so excited. She's part of Sacred Moon community, and Aim's going to introduce her after we start our big deep breath.
One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Really expel all the air out. Big inhale through the nose, lift up. Open the heart, open the mind. Exhale, let it go. Arrive in the moment, arrive in the message. I'm just so excited to have Aspen here with us today, and I've been asking her for a while, but we got her.
We got her.
We got
She's
her.
Here.
So Aspen is amazing. Aspen is my partner here at the studio and like life partner, right? We just like I have so many women life partners where I just like do life with all these like amazing, beautiful women and like build these beautiful things. And, Aspen and I joined teams after COVID. We had both opened a studio right around the same time as each other, like a mile down the street from each other with like the same mission, the same vision. And we had a lot of the same people and had heard of each other. And I went to a class at her old space. It was a Kundalini class. My core was sore for 2 weeks. It was amazing, and I'll never forget that moment. I like opened my eyes during Shavasana, and she was just sitting there with like the most magical smile, and she sings after the classes, and I was just like, oh my God, we're gonna be great friends. Like, we're gonna be friends. I tend to do that often where I'm like, I like you, I think we should be friends. Like this little like childlike innocence. Like I feel like we as adults lose that.
Yeah.
You know?
It is true.
And then, so then COVID happened, and we were just like, wow, we're doing like the same thing. We both have the same mission. We both have the same vision. Our hearts are the same. Our purpose is the same. Our path, our paths to get here may have been so different, but the vision and the mission is the same through the same connected pain point, right? Like we all have a reason why we end up doing this kind of work. And it's so hard to do this kind of work alone and to run a business like this alone. Yeah. It's very, it's taxing. It's not, it's not easy to carry everybody else's pain, and not so much carry it because we don't carry it, but allow people to hold space for people in pain. That's what we're doing on a constant basis. So doing that alone and having somebody that is doing the same exact thing as you, and then we have each other to, hold space for each other. And it's really a gift in this industry to have, and to have somebody who has Aspen and I, and I'm sure it's going to happen today on this episode where we go on rants, and we have the same rants. We will just go on these rants about what is happening in the yoga and healing industry, and it's really beautiful to find people that really want to keep the traditions of what this is actually about alive, and that it's not
it so mainstream.
Yeah, it's not about fucking wanting to stand on your head. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, can we do it? It's not about wanting to do a handstand. It's not about how you look in your fucking Lululemon yoga clothes. Like, we are here to, like, not be surface level. Yeah. Like, and
we don't do surface level.
We've all fell victim to that of, like, thinking that that's what it is, or, and then eventually it's a stepping stone. But Aspen has helped me through these past few years more than I could ever express gratitude for. She is an amazing energy healer. She is an amazing educator. She is an unreal teacher. She's so uncomfortable right now.
All of it. She's incredible, you guys. She's incredible. She really is.
And she really, really hates talking about herself. And
we're making her so uncomfortable right now. It's fine.
And this is why it's taken so long to get her on the podcast. So we're going to do our best to just not make her even more uncomfortable because of how amazing that we think she is. Yeah. And anybody that's met her in person
knows.
knows.
You just know. And you see her light.
You come to the studio to one of our classes and it's just real. And I am so honored for you guys to get to know Aspen and hear what we're doing at the studio together, what we're doing on the app, all the magical things that we have going on, the community that is building underneath all of it, out of the podcast, out of the center, out of the app, out of just everything that's happening is just flowing so beautifully with this partnership. And I'm just so eternally grateful, and I'm so happy that you decided to finally come on, even though you're hating every moment of it. So you guys just know that this is like, we're just very honored to have her here and in this space doing this exact thing.
For sure. So she pulled a card. Mm-hmm. She pulled our card for us. And what deck is this?
It's the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell.
Okay, cool.
I love that deck.
Me too. I love the Starseed deck too.
Yeah, the
Starseed one's really good.
I might tell you why I chose this deck, but I also might not. The card is the Rose Thread, Inner Call, Soul Led, the Mystic, Living Courageously.
Living courageously. You're
Weird.
kidding. You're kidding.
Weird. It's
always
never
spot
weird.
on. It's never weird. It's always spot on. So
you are the mystic.
This I will show you guys. This deck is so beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to check Rebecca Campbell out, her decks are, oh my God, incredible. And the artwork is just chef's
We'll
kiss.
link it.
We'll link it.
We'll link it.
So soul led, inner call, living courageously. That's literally all of the things that you guys are doing here. That's what you continue to do. That's what I see from you when I experience the gift of taking your classes. Reiki, I got to get certified by Aspen in Reiki 1 and 2. I can't wait to do Reiki 3. She's seriously such an incredible teacher, and she has like a gift of teaching where like you retain the information. I don't know about anyone else, but when I'm a student, I don't retain well, and Aspen has a very good way of like educating that you're excited and like you just, I don't know. I just retain it better by you. I don't know why. But I've seen that side of you, and it's so beautiful. And everyone deserves to know.
She's the woman behind the scenes.
Yes. She's like the one behind it all, doing it all back here. Like if I need anything to do with the studio, Amy's like, you got to ask Aspen. Text Aspen. Like, okay.
Guys, I'm serious. Like it's amazing. The universe really has blessed me. I say this with partnerships and with my women. Like I have like very like life partners. It's like, you know, we all have our unique gifts and like things that we're good at and things that we're not good at. And then if you open yourself up, you have things, people come in and build. So what do you think, Aspen? What do you think about that card? Aspen's also an amazing tarot card reader.
Yeah, she actually reads cards as well. She came to my house and cleared my house a while ago when we first moved in. I was having like some energies going on that were like freaking me out, and she came and it really just made us all feel so much better. I know my husband felt better after, I felt better after, and she just has so many different unique gifts and qualities, but she's like one of those that like doesn't like to talk about herself and like won't tell you that she can do all these things until you find out, and then you're like, wait, what the fuck, why can't you just scream it from the rooftops? Like one of those. Very humble. Very, very humble.
You have to meet Aspen in person.
Yeah. You'll just have to come to the studio.
It's so strange how, I mean, I've taught classes with, 100 or so people and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But sitting here is,
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's all right.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
You're all mic'd up. You got headphones. It seems very official. Do you want to tell us why you got into this work? Was there like a specific event or thing that kind of led you into this realm of work?
I don't think that there was a specific event. I grew up around a bunch of weirdos.
Love
who, I don't know, taught me things. I started with, well, I don't know. When I was little, my mom wasn't really into, like, I don't know, medication or going to the doctor, like surgeries and, you know, that kind of stuff. And if I had a headache or if, you know, something hurt, my mom would put her hands on me. And I don't know if she really understood, like, what she was doing and how it was affecting me. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But whenever I was nervous or upset or something hurt, and I don't know if you notice that I do this sometimes, but I stand in like really weird positions and put my hands you know, all over the place because it's soothing me somehow. And fast forward, I don't know how many years, I got into flower essences and astrology probably when I was like 10, 11, 12.
What's flower essences?
So long story short, in the 1930s, there was this guy, Dr. Bach in England, who was a physician, and he figured out that, and I mean, this is like ancient science, but like in Ayurveda also, but he kind of pivoted his practice to more plant remedies. So he realized that pretty much everything that ails us physically comes from an emotional place. So all of these flower essences, they work vibrationally, and each one helps with something different. And it's not just, I mean, it's like emotionally, yes, but it's like anxiety or fear, and then within those categories there are different subcategories. So I mean, there are other ones, but so I mean, ever since I like I said, I don't know how old I was, but they come in like a dropper bottle, and I was taught so again with the hands to touch the bottles of all of the essences, and then you know by the way the energy vibrates through you, if that's the one.
Oh,
and
wow.
so typically a tincture is no more than 7. So, and this is, I'm sorry, I'm like going in all different directions.
Don't be sorry.
The gift that chronic Lyme disease gave me was, you know, weird stuff with my fingers. So when I'm choosing for somebody, I will feel stuff in my left hand and in my fingers. I get pain like up my pinky or whatever, and that's what tells me a lot of the times, you know, which remedy to choose. So I started doing that when I was pretty young, but I benefited from it.
Yeah, didn't your mom,
greatly.
like, because you started at 10, right? Like with astrology and all that stuff. Wasn't your mom super supportive
That's
of
incredible.
like, that journey? So you started so young, really
Yeah.
down this path.
Yeah, my mom was super supportive. When I was little, and I mean, my whole family situation is kind of complicated, I guess. But when I was really little, I was, you know, spent a lot of time with my mom. And I don't remember really having any friends that other people could see. The
imaginary ones.
I didn't really, I don't know. I was just weird and didn't really fit in anywhere. And like, even when I did, this is so strange. A lot of my friends growing up, and I don't know, I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but a lot of my friends growing up were autistic and nonverbal. And I would just hang out with them.
Yeah.
We would just watch cartoons or, you know,
probably felt their
sit
energy and they felt yours.
around, and we didn't have to talk. And it was, I don't remember when I realized that, like, oh my gosh, you know, that's a lot of my mom's friends' kids were, you know, were nonverbal, and, you know, that was totally fine. It was good. It was a good time. Yeah, so other than that, I spent a lot of time by myself. And if we're really getting into details, I started hanging out with Rex. And my mom didn't treat him like an imaginary friend. Like, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to hang out with Rex over here, you know, if you need me. You know, and my mom, she didn't, I don't know, I think it's kind of damaging to be like, that person isn't there. They're not real. This is what they are.
Yeah.
They're an imaginary friend. You made them up. And, I mean, I still hang out with Rex sometimes. I didn't, you know, he was there for me for a reason. And eventually, you know, when I got older, he got a girlfriend and hung out with me last. Her name was Jennifer, and I wasn't a fan. But, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like even when I was a kid, if there was, you know, an energy that was going to come through a room, I don't know, I would recognize that energy, and that energy would recognize me. And sometimes it was very, very scary. Not like with Rex, but I didn't understand. And so these early experiences kind of led me to comfort in things like flower essence and astrology, and really helped me to understand not only my path and my journey, but the more I understood who and what I was, I guess, the more I could help other people and not, I guess, be paralyzed with fear, you know, because I haven't always understood it. And sometimes I still don't.
Yeah.
You know, something will happen, or I'll feel something and I don't, you know, I don't know what to call it or what to name it, or I haven't felt it before. But that's why it's amazing to have a group of weirdos as an adult too, because, you know, if something's weird, you know, I can call Amy or Tay, and I know nobody's gonna be like, okay, you fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
job.
all right, listen to this shit. And, you know, I don't know. At least, you know, even if they don't know what the hell's going on, we can talk about it. We can, you know.
Talk it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because life is fucking strange.
Yeah. And strange things are happening all the time.
Yeah.
People just don't choose to acknowledge those strange things, and they choose to ignore them. Like even signs or situations happening where you literally get slapped right in the face and you're still in like a state of denial where you're like, nope, that actually didn't happen, or like, nope, that was just this. It's like,
There is
nope.
no coincidences.
Yeah, there's no coincidence in any of it.
And that's too, and then like and it's also like we all feel each other like so deeply, you know, like
Yeah, for sure.
When I had my year, or when Aspen's not feeling good, or things like, we just know. It's like, are you okay? Like, is this yours? Like, are you? Because I feel really like connected to you, and this is happening, and so
Yeah.
we just like know, and we have the ability when, you know, when we're in these darker times or when things are happening, that we can be like, oh, okay, like, are you all right? Like, I'm just here for you. Like, you don't have to like. This is my newest thing. We're always trying to figure everything out, right? We're always trying to figure it out. There's nothing to figure out.
Yeah.
We'll literally just spend our whole lives trying to figure it out.
I do that still sometimes.
Yeah, same.
Like, I try to just be like, why am I feeling this way? There has to be a reason. And Dill will always remind me, like, no, there doesn't. Like, there doesn't always have to be a reason.
No, just
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so the flower essence, also another thing that Aspen does, like, it's another one of her magical gifts that she has, where she makes flower essence, is
That Palo Santo oil, you guys. Oh, the one that you're all are just like, oh, we need it at the studio. We need to buy it at the studio. It's like Palo Santo citrus, and you said like a hint of vanilla.
Yeah.
That oil she made, and it is incredible, and we need to sell it here because everyone loves it.
everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it. She's just a jack of all trades, y'all. She really is. She just so gifted. So fluorescence, starting at a young age, when did you kind of like, you think, come into yourself? Like, was it after high school? Was it young adult? Was it, where do you think that you kind of were just like starting to own truly who you were, and like that you had these unique gifts that you could share with the world?
Well, I was not going to talk about this, but
Well, we don't have to.
well, no, I mean this was kind of a point where I started to find my strength and try to understand myself a little bit more. So I was blessed with two sets of parents. So you may hear me talk about my mother and my mom. My biological mother has passed away, and she was who I grew up with to a certain age. And then I, got a little older and, had more parents, my bonus parents, I guess. And so really long story short, my mom, I was living in Olympia, Washington. Yeah. And it was probably, I don't know, 2010. 2010? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, 2010. Jesus. And, my mom, well, she's a Capricorn. She was a Capricorn. And so she was very much like, unless you're bleeding from the eyeballs, you will go to work, you will go to school, keep your shit together.
That was my mom.
Yeah, and so I knew something was going on with her, and especially when she had a couple of procedures that she was like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, whatever. But then when she asked me to get on an airplane and fly to northern New Hampshire from Washington, I knew that something was up. And so she told me as if she were, telling me she had the flu, that she had stage 4 lung cancer. And, she didn't want me to worry about any of these things, but, she wanted me to come home. And I didn't know the gravity of the situation until, a little while later. I was home and she was trying to give me a lot of things. And finally I was like, okay, what the hell? Please tell me what is going on, because I feel like I'm not getting the whole story. And so she shared a little bit more about her prognosis with me. And I was like, okay, I am going to go back to Washington and pack my life up and come back here. And story for another day. Northern New Hampshire energetically is not my jam. So I did that, but I should preface this with, I was probably about 80 pounds soaking wet, and it just been, I don't know if released is the right word, but I just left my stay in the beautiful, exotic Tacoma, Washington, eating disorder psych ward. And
were you in the fitness industry at that time? Is that when you were doing the dance and because Aspen also has a crazy fitness industry. She's like a dance queen and a DJ and all things.
Booty teacher, shake it out.
I was so I've always been very athletic and always playing sports and stuff, but I was at a point where I was so in my sickness, and these usually come in cycles, like something will trigger it and it gets really bad, and when I'm like in it, I get to this point where I won't work out because I don't want to gain muscle. And I'm not saying that if you do work out you're going to bulk up, but if you're in the mindset I was in, working out will is counterintuitive to my grand plan inside myself. But so yeah, I just gotten out of that, and I was not in a great mindset. And so I came back in October of 2010, and my stepdad and I took care of my mom for like a year and a half, 2 years before she passed away. Wow. And it was it was, I don't even know. There aren't words.
Yeah, of course.
It was really, it was a crazy time. And I felt like I was at my weakest, and how can I really, be there for, anybody when I'm, such a hot mess myself. And I was kind of ashamed too, because, my mom and my stepdad have, had at that point dealt with my shenanigans since, I was also very young. And, I don't know if, these gifts that you keep raging on about, I don't know if there's any correlation to, my illness, and, fighting the fact that, I did have power, and I, didn't understand it, and I felt so disconnected from myself, physically, emotionally, but for the most part from my body.
Yeah.
And there was a point when I was, actually my stepdad and I were just talking about this. I overheard a conversation with my stepdad and his mother about, and I don't remember verbatim what the conversation was, but what I do remember is they were concerned that I was going to die before my mother, who had stage 4 terminal cancer. So that was a very sobering moment, just actually hearing that, because you can listen, you can read all the pamphlets, and you can listen to all of the nutritionists, and you can, you can educate yourself on that. But we'll just call it the illness is insidious, and it is more than just, eating or not eating, or taking care of your body or not taking care of your body. It's like being possessed. And so I had never heard anybody speak directly, well, not at me, but about how my illness affected other people, I guess, indirectly. And it was, something that I know that my family was very aware of, and my family in New Jersey were very aware of, but we didn't really talk about it. And I think people didn't really know how to talk with me about it, because I'm sure that I was very defensive, and I'm very secretive, and just very, becoming more and more detached. And when I say this, there have been like many, many cycles that, overlap and are connected. But so hearing that was really difficult, and I had to kind of, I guess, pull myself up. I just remember, asking myself, or telling myself, like, you have a choice here. Like, you can die too, or, you can live.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. Yeah, that came from within me, but I felt like I had, I came 3,000 miles not to, die before my mother.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself too, like, even, as my mom got sicker and sicker, she, started to become more frail. And even as she, got smaller and smaller, there was no way, if she fell, I would be able to help her, even, in the state that she was in. And I think, if anything, overhearing what I overheard spoke to me more about having the strength to really be there for somebody that I love so much, that I knew that I was going to lose, and being present for her and for my family. And I was running from so many things, just all the time. And I kind of had to, I don't know, allow something to come before this fucking sickness.
Yeah.
And I had to make that choice. I had to, it was deliberate, whereas a lot of things, you know, when you are possessed by something else, are not, you don't have that choice, you know, it just happens, you know, you are who you are and you do what you do.
Yep.
And that's not to say that that's the end of the story, because it's not, but I had to really pull all of my strength, and I don't know, I had to really step into that. And I don't want to talk about like the things that my stepfather has said about me, because he witnessed that and was like, holy shit, when you need to be strong, you are strong.
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, if you were to have asked me, like, do you think that you're a strong woman? I would have been like, fuck no. Yeah. Like, I did what I had to do, you know? And I did it for somebody else. And that's like a huge, that's been a huge part of my struggle, you know, and not just then, but having the realization
to that, though.
of, you know, being able to show up for other people. And I mean, I have no regrets about that. Like, I was there for my mom, you know, and the very best I could be. And I have no regrets about that. But I do realize that, you know, I will show up for anybody else but myself. And that's definitely been something I've been working on, and Amy's probably beat my ass for several times, not physically, but
no, but it's funny because I can relate to that, though. I remember getting sober for my mom. Like, I got clean for my mom. Like, that was it. Like, she wanted me clean, and I had just almost died, and I was like, fine, I'll try it out. Like, I'll do it for however long, and we'll see if I can make it. And thank God, after a few months, I started doing it for myself, and I was like, okay. But I think that also just speaks to you and who you are as a person, because all of these things, like, I've known you for how long now, and I didn't know most of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like you carry these things, in my opinion, I don't even know if so well is the right word, but you carried them in a way where I wouldn't have known any of this. Truly.
Pain into purpose.
Yeah, pain into purpose. That's what I mean. You were a perfect living example of, like, you've taken your pain and you've turned it into something so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I will say, and we actually just were having this conversation out in the waiting room before, and I'm really just so honored that you shared that vulnerable moment with us, and you just, like, never know, right? But I say, like, I respect, and as, you know, I worked in the treatment industry for so long, and there was so many women that came in with addiction and had eating disorders also. And I always had my heart just broke and spilled over. I don't have experience with that, but what I've got to witness in that journey is so hard, because it's like people don't even realize. It's like when I first got clean, you know, if somebody told me that I had to take, you know, 3, you know, doses of heroin every single day, and then throw some little snack doses in there, and then, like, maybe in the middle of the night, if you're hungry because you have to, like, nourish your body, you know what I mean? You got to go and do, like, a little shot of heroin, or, like, take a pill, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be such a challenge. And as with any addictions, right? It's like,
I feel like eating like, I struggle eating. And I don't even, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never struggled with an eating disorder, and I still struggle eating. Like, because to me, this sounds so ridiculous, but sometimes I'm like, it's such an inconvenience. I don't have time. I don't have time to eat today. Like, I don't have time. I swear to God. It sounds terrible, but, like, I'll be running around like a psycho. Like, oh my God, I haven't ate today. It's fucking 3:00. Like, what's happening? Like, do you know what I mean? But it really just, I feel like that specifically, eating disorder specifically, I don't have experience with, but to have this idea that like, no, you have to nourish your body. Like we need food to survive, like food and water to survive. And then to force yourself to eat, I can't imagine, you know, what that's like.
It's not about food at all.
You don't think so?
Whatsoever, no.
No, it's image, right? Like, is it body image?
Is it body dysmorphia?
Control?
Well, it is body dysmorphia, but yeah, it's about control. And, feeling powerless, feeling, I mean, and I said this in another context or other contexts before, but you can only change what you do and what you feel and what you say and who you are. You can't change society's, you know, image of what is beautiful and what is not.
Yeah.
But I can change the way my body looks.
Yeah.
And maybe at first it's that because, you know, I mean, I was a typical, like I was bullied and, you know, whatever. But after a while it becomes, well, not a long while, it becomes about what you can control, what is yours. Maybe feeling something when you're not particularly feeling what you think you should feel, or you want to feel something different because everything else feels so, I don't know, just painful.
That makes sense.
Being able to control that sensation. But when it becomes out of control and when like obsessive, you know, when that bleeds out into other areas of your life besides what you put into your body and what comes out, it becomes a lot crazier. But I think that if it were just about eating or not eating, it would be a lot easier because when I was growing up, I was picky as hell about eating. Like I wouldn't eat anything if I wasn't forced to eat. But and not to downplay what you were saying, Tay, or you, Amy, like because it's. I've told both of you about this because I just feel that it's, I can never truly understand something that you two have gone through because I haven't been through that. But I think I have a little bit of an understanding of addiction because this illness is about... it is an addiction. It is something that, even though it starts as something that has a lot to do with control, it gets out of control. And then it's very hard to get that back.
Well, I was just going to say, even if it's to do with control, that's obviously addiction. You think you're in control of it until you're not. And then you're like, fuck, what's happening?
Yeah. And then, I don't think I've ever used the word like possessed before. I just kind of came out of my mouth earlier, but it does feel like, you know, somebody else is pulling the strings. Yeah. And it's like somebody else who lives inside of you. Yeah. And it becomes very, very scary. I remember one. I'm one of those weird people. When I get nervous, I laugh at things that aren't funny, so I'm sorry.
Oh, same.
I'm like about to tell you something really gross, and I'm like
laughing.
I remember one time I was getting into the shower, and I did all of these really weird ritualistic things, like I have to weigh myself like 3 times, facing north, east, south, and then like lift the lid of the toilet seat like 3 times, and if I don't do it right, I have to do it all over again. But I remember I was taking my clothes off, about to get into the shower, and I really had a hard time being naked. So I probably hadn't showered in like however long. And I have a really weird chest anyway. It's pretty concave and it's weird. But I felt that my heart was going to beat out of my chest. Like I could feel it. Man. And it was very... I felt like I was being chased down by something, and then cornered. And I didn't know how to make it stop. And not like I was trying to make my heart stop, but I felt like there was a very thin line between the inside of me and the outside, if that made sense. And I did that Like, I did that and I didn't know how to undo it or to make it stop. And I had before in the past. I don't really know how. It's always, situational, I guess. But I know that I'm destroying myself, but I can't make it stop, even if I wanted to.
Which is a very similar feeling with drug addiction and alcoholism.
It's insidious,
Yeah. It's this.
And you feel possessed. Like,
Yeah.
I am definitely not the same person getting high. Like, not even close. I would do things, I would say things that were so out of my character. Like, so I feel like that's very relatable. Like, you just don't feel, but yet, like, you're the one who's, like, done this to yourself. But you're like, what the fuck? Like, how'd I get here?
Yeah. Yeah, and then just that disconnection, and this is kind of why I chose this deck, but being so disconnected from my body at times, like, I am a healthy weight now, and it doesn't control me. It's something that if it goes away, hallelujah, but it's still, like a program running in the background, and one kind of like residual, side effect is a body dysmorphia, which is huge. And I mean, April and Amy and now you have had to deal with like what it's like to take a picture with me. And I mean, it's crazy. And I feel really stupid because, again, it's not about necessarily how I look. It's about how I feel, how I feel disconnected. Like, I look at a photo of myself and I don't feel like that person in the photo is who I am, is me, is like the vessel of my soul. Yeah. And of course, talking about you seeing me seeing myself the way you see me. And I don't know if that's, maybe one day it's possible.
Girl, I struggle when I was in Mexico. That's what I was saying. Like, I just wish for one moment in the world, just one moment, I could see myself how everybody else sees me. Or like, I read the reviews and are like, people say nice things to me, or and
you're still like, but wait.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
it's like that's
it's
the
so
inside.
hard.
It's just like, wait.
And I think in this day and age too, specifically with social media, and again, like all the shit, what society labels a woman and how a woman should look is causing a lot of women to struggle with body dysmorphia. And even myself, like, I'll look at myself sometimes and be like, I need to lose more weight. What's wrong? What's the cellulite on my legs and my ass? Like, babe, how do I get rid of this? And he's like, you fucking had 2 kids. Like, you don't. Like, deal with it. Like, you're beautiful, period.
I know, and I'm like, oh, you're so gorgeous, Tay.
And I'm like, Aspen, what the fuck? You're so beautiful. Like, we're going to take a picture and it's going to be dope. And you're like, no. Same. It's like, I wish sometimes that we could truly see ourselves the way other people view us, because you know how much we love you and how much value you bring to our lives. And I feel like sometimes I wish you could feel that. Wish you could feel that like we do.
Well, one thing that I think, kind of ties this like discombobulated me talking thing together is, and I think I told you this in either Reiki 1 or Reiki 2, and I've heard this from clients a lot and students, I might not be ready to do this work because I'm not whole or I'm not fixed. And, I didn't know what this conversation was going to be about because I am who I am. But we do draw a lot of power from our pain. And if I were to come in thinking that I was done the journey and I had accomplished everything and I healed myself completely, and I was like, and you're going to work with me, I would be like, run for the hills, because if I feel that I'm done, then I have nothing to offer you.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
I think that we, not just empathy, but if we can turn it around, even if we're not completely healed, because we won't be 100%, because there's always something to learn. There's always something we realize about ourselves through the pain and the trauma and the healing. And it turns into Dharma, and Dharma is not, the end. But we become relatable and we become human to the people that we work with. I think if I hadn't, I don't know if it's courage, but I had the courage to actually speak during this podcast, and anybody listening just listen to what y'all said about me, they may have a very different idea of who I am. And I don't know. I think understanding just a little bit about, what goes on within someone and why they do what they do is so much more powerful. And so, I don't know. I think there is a spectrum of other people seeing us the way other people see us, because I'm not the same as I was yesterday, and I sure as hell won't be the same after I'm done talking.
And one of the wildest things too is every single person you meet, I have a view of myself, and you have a view of me, and you have a view of me, and everybody else has a view of me, and some people have this wild view. It's but there is not one. There isn't the same view that ever. Everybody has a different experience with you too. So that's some people fucking hate me. Some people really love me. Some people could, you're just you never know.
Yeah. And I mean, I think.
But yes, I think you're right when you say it's important to know the details, because it is true. I put you on a little bit of a pedestal in my mind, not because, I think that you're better than or whatever, but because I admire and I look up to you. But I think it is important to know people's stories, because we aren't perfect and we all struggle with shit, and we all have our own inner battles and our own inner demons that we have to fucking slay every day and show up in a way that, is not only conducive to us, but to others around us.
Yeah. I have definitely, and I guess this is why I'm so adamant, and this I think has been a rant, our Tuesday rants, just about being relatable and human to our students and our clients. And I've definitely taught in places where, interaction with students beyond the yoga or the whatever it is looked down upon, is frowned upon. And I think I've told both of you, in the Western Kundalini tradition, and I'll just preface this with, I get why this is done, but I will not do it. The Kundalini teacher sits up on a platform, and so they're above, and the students are down below. And that is so that the heart of the teacher can be at the third eye of the students. And that's great, but for me, that comes across a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And I will not sit above my students.
Yeah.
I sit with my students.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's beautiful in, what it is, but in practice, it's just something that I'm not comfortable with. So I'm not saying that, I think any less of a Kundalini teacher that does that. That's what we're taught. But yeah, it makes me extremely uncomfortable because I want you to know that I am with you, and I am fucked up, and I am in just as much pain as you are.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me want to be a teacher and want to be a healer, because why would I waste all of that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And not saying go out and get yourself an eating disorder because you don't want one.
Yeah.
But, just not playing into the stigma of anxiety or ADHD or depression or whatever. We want to heal from those things, but we also don't want to think that we're flawed and we have nothing to offer because we're depressed or we're riddled with anxiety. We have more to offer, I think.
Yeah.
It's about how you get through it.
Yeah.
When you have those extreme conditions and these extreme things, and you come out the other side of it and choose, right? It's our job as human beings to figure out something how you can help other people. Love thy neighbor. It's across all religions, that's what it is. And you know, and you've just dived so deep into the education piece of it too. I mean, Aspen, we could probably go on and on and on about Aspen forever. But she lived in India for a while. Like, she's Kundalini, like all of these trainings, all this education. If you need to know anything about astrology, you want to know about your chart, get your chart read. She'll send you a 46-page
right here,
a 46-page chart of every single planet and star, and it tells you like your life's purpose, and if you are a couple and you want to get your couples one read together, she deep dives into like your strengths and your weaknesses and your missions, and she's fucking incredible.
I feel like we're just like, Aspen's incredible, but like, so it's so serious. Like, I think it's because she just has so much knowledge about so many different things that when you're around her, you just feel a little bit smarter. I know that's for me. Like, when I'm around Aspen and when I leave Aspen, right? We want people in our lives who add value. She is someone who adds a shit ton of value. So every time I'm around her, I'm learning something new. I'm gaining something new. I'm, doing something different. And I think that's what's so cool. You've had all of these life experiences, education, knowings, teachings to give. And that's a gift. It's special. Not a lot of people have the experience that you've had, I feel like, or the upbringing where like your parents were supportive of it, right? And like you started very young.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she's a magical medium. Like, it just like, there's like, the list can go on. She's so blushing over there right now. She hates me so much.
She's like, shut the fuck up, you guys.
When I tell you, I'm going to share this one experience that I had with Aspen because I think it was one of the most profound. And I know we're like running out of time because we have a sound bath coming in. But if this will encourage you to book a session with her or get on the app and hear education, I had an energy healing session. So after we met, I worked with Aspen for about 1.5 years on a, like, I was seeing her like weekly, like I was working through a lot of things, and it was really like as the time that I was deciding, working through my own dealings with addiction and those kinds of things, and realizing that everything I had been told and all the stories that I have been told about addiction were all wrong in my experience, right? Like, this is my experience. She does these cord cutting meditations, and she has this selenite sword, and it was absolutely one of the most magical experiences of my life. I
remember hearing about this.
And she has this selenite sword, and she gets you on the table, and she sinks you into the meditation, and you take off into the universe as the plane takes off. You go into the fucking cosmos. You're really just like, your body's there, but you're on this journey with her, and an energetic journey. And she was pulling this cord out of my right hip, and I could like feel it. It was almost like there was a fucking thread being pulled out of my hip. Like, I could feel her like pulling this out. And she said to me, she's like, when you feel like it's done, like, I want you to take the knife and I want you to cut it. And I could feel it, and like the knife was like, guys, it's like a heavy like crystal sword, but it's not like heavy that I couldn't fucking lift it, but like energetically I couldn't lift it. Like, I had it on my chest, and I could still feel this like thread like coming out of my hip, and all of a sudden, I'll never forget it, you like kind of feel like, even saying it out loud, it feels kind of crazy, but this was so real and it was so energetic, and I was able to lift the sword up, and I swear I went, and I got the and I cut the thread, and I like, it was almost like it bursts, like there was almost like a burst in my hip, like I just like felt it like completely release.
So powerful.
And you'll have experiences like that, and then she'll just keep going, and you're just like, wait, that just happened, and then you fall back into the meditation. What the fuck just happened? And you're just like, all right, I'm gonna surrender to this moment because this is so magical, and this is actually happening energetically and in the body, and it's just so true about our issues lie in our tissues, and everything's stored energetically, and it's so beautiful when you find somebody that knows how to move the energy and work with the energy on that level in such a magical way, And that's like she has her own Reiki practice that she's created that you got, like, the education is insane.
Yeah, so beautiful. Highly recommend.
And it was the most magical. I cut the cord, like it was gone. Like, I don't suffer from those things anymore. I was like, yeah, I was energetic, but everything is energy.
Yeah, everything.
So when you take the opportunities to really dive deep into this work, and you have magical guidance, right? Because she guided me, right? I give Aspen the credit because we show up and like do these things and we empower people and we sit down and we do it. But like, you have to do the work too.
Yep.
And she's such a good teacher at like empowering you to like figure out where these things are stuck and move the energy.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm just so grateful. And yeah, you're just magic, and I'm just so honored. And I know so many people that have had similar experiences with you, and like, you know, it's like the thing, right? It's like the pain was never, you were never going to say it was worth it, right? Like,
yeah.
But maybe it is, right? To be able to like, you know, see that like we get to guide people into having these life-changing experiences that sometimes I sit and I'm like, well, maybe it was all worth it to like be here in this moment and have this community that we've built through our pain.
That's how I feel. I know all my pain was worth it for me. To be right here, sitting with both of you and the beautiful life that we've created. I truly feel that. I think it was all worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're going to have like a whole nother podcast with Aspen now because we like
In
went
the
this
future.
way. Because she like all the Kundalini education, like we didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about the app. We literally didn't talk about anything at the studio.
We talked about what was meant to talk about. I truly believe that. That's how every podcast is. We always have an idea of what we're going to talk about, and then what comes out is what's meant to be heard. And that needed to be heard. And I can't wait for this to get out to all of you so you can hear it all.
Yeah, because this was what we said. This is the first time we've had somebody talk about it, and I think it's so important in education. And I think that, you know, a lot of women suffer in silence, and I think a lot of women don't talk about it. And to just like know that you're not alone. And you know, Aspen's great, like you come to our Kundalini class, and like, you know, do you think for you that the yoga practice and what you do with everything that you do energetically and all the education has helped you with that, like finding that comfort in your body?
Yes, definitely. But I think just as a human, all I did, Amy, was hand you a sword. And if in my hardest times somebody had handed me a sword, then things might have been a little bit different now. So I think just about, you know, shining a light, and discovering power together. It definitely helps me. I have varying levels of comfort within my own body, that's for sure. But I think that in the Kundalini tradition, the Western Kundalini tradition, we talk about 10 bodies, and the soul body is the first body, and it has to have a place to live. And that's the fifth body, and that's the physical body. And whether I like this vessel or not, I have to keep it safe, and I have to keep it thriving, and I have to nourish it for my soul. If this physical body ceases to be, or if I starve it, or if I abuse it, my soul suffers. And so, to answer your question more directly, I think the Kundalini practice is really beautiful for that realization. It's not about asana. It's not about necessarily, it is about how we move our bodies, but it's a lot more profound. And so to understand that and to move that way, yes, it helps me with my physical body, but I think not in the way that would surface make sense.
On that surface level, it's not about, you know, how by doing the movements or doing the practices, like having your core, like when I was saying about having your core be really sore, right, and like feeling in your body. It's about how the movement makes you feel inside. I always say that, right? It's like going to the gym or like doing a yoga practice or doing a booty class. It's not about the way my body looks after. That's a bonus. Like, it's great that, like, I feel, you know what I mean? Like, my body's, like, intoned and fit. But it's literally about moving the energy and how that makes me feel.
Yeah. And that's a space of your personal power. And the fact that you could feel that afterwards, you ignited something within yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about, you know, 6-pack of abs on Instagram.
I know. I said
the,
it to Dill today. I'm like, what the fuck? I've been working out like almost 3 months and I feel like I don't notice any difference. And then he's like, yeah, babe, but how do you feel? Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, you're right. My mental health has been like through the roof lately. Mm-hmm. And it's truly because I wake up every morning now and I move my body. And I was like, wow, you're so right. I need to switch that mindset. Like, I'm not going to obsess about how I look anymore. I'm going to obsess about how I feel, and how I feel is very different. And I feel confident, and I haven't felt confident in a really long time.
I will say, I remember the night when your booty was like, hello, Aspen and Brittany, what's up? And we were both like, we didn't know that Tay had such a juicy booty. What the hell? And Tay's like walking down toward the bathroom, and we're like, hope we didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Bye. Have a good podcast.
Not at all. That's like the best compliment, I swear.
Yeah, women compliments are so great. I was out to dinner with Billy last night in Salem, and I was just sitting there. I got 2 compliments yesterday that was so beautiful. A woman, like a waitress, she was just like, I just have to tell you that you're so beautiful.
I love that.
And I was like, oh my God, it just feels so good when it coming from a woman. And then I was playing pool, and this old man, like, he was like in his 80s, like he was an older man, and he was like, I just have to tell you, like, your hair, it's like art. Like, I was in the art industry, like, in your hair, and like, it's like art. Yeah. And I was like, wow, these are the best compliments.
Love that.
So great. You don't realize, right? Like, strangers, like, compliment people, like, tell them, like.
That's why I always try to compliment, because I know how good it feels. So now when I'm out, like, if I like someone's shoes, if I like the shirt you're wearing, if I like the hair you have, I'm like, girl,
Aspen is the lavender queen right now, and I'm like slightly obsessed.
Okay, if there's one thing that you could leave our listeners with, one like good golden nugget, some life advice that like you has gotten you this far, just one thing, what could you tell us? What would be like your number one thing, if something comes to mind?
Remember when I told you that everything in my head would fall out?
Yes, but what's right here right now?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably kind of just piggybacking on what I was saying about handing Amy the sword. Like, don't be afraid to pick up the sword yourself. Or, you know, if you can't do that, then find a community of people who will hand it to you, who will hold the flashlight, who will, you know, lift you up, because there's so much, there's just so much shit out there that, you know, will drag you down even further. But if you find a group of people like this group, you know, who is going to be there for you, they're going to show up until you can show up for yourself. Yeah. Find those people, tell them all the things, even if you don't want to. Yeah. And let yourself be held. Yeah. Just even if it's just for a second. Yeah. Let yourself be held.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I love that.
Aspen, we love you so much, and we thank you for getting so vulnerable and sitting with us.
And we have some new exciting news about the app that we'll just like do a little plug. We are changing the price of the app, more just for accessibility, and it's just growing so much. And that we've noticed that there's some things that people really love, and then some people don't do it. So we're going to make the subscription of the app $44 a month. So the new information is going to be out, and then you'll be able to purchase. We are working on the sound equipment, so you'll be able to purchase, like tonight we have the New Moon sound bath. You'll be able to purchase it for the same price that you've got it in the studio. Love so that. The breath work, Aspen's Kundalini class on Monday night, she does that live, but that class is donation based. So now you'll make a donation to get into the class, things like that way. So energetically it feels good. So you can kind of a la carte your your
Love that.
subscription in the app. And the $44 gives you access to the daily coaching, Aspen's Tarot Tuesdays. She does tarot cards live on Tuesdays, which is so incredible. She does an astro chat. So another thing that about Aspen, she knows everything about all the planets, all the signs, all the fucking things.
Yeah.
And she always knows what's going on in the universe. If I need to know, I'm call Aspen. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in the stars right now? Because I feel like a crazy person, and I know it has to do with the stars in this moment. So you got to tell me. And she'll be like, well, this star is in this house, and this is happening because this, and you're a Taurus, and your sign side is this. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. So as long as I know that I'm not crazy, that it is actually has to do with the stars, and I'm good, and I'll make it through, and it'll pass. So she does all those educations, and so the app is amazing, and the app. We have such a beautiful community in the app already, like 100 people. Like, it's beautiful. There's actually some people out there right now that are in the app and also waiting to come into the studio for the sound bath. So it is the new moon, and we are recording at the studio on Sunday. So we always link in the newsletter the thing. You can 7-day free trial the app. We are so excited about that and the shift that we've made in that, and to build community. And we are asking community members to share their stories in the community. So this isn't about us having an audience. It's about us having a community. And that we really are just like empowering people to step into their power, just like we empowered Tay to like step into do breath work. We have a couple other people that are just really stepping into their power. Matt's doing Matt and we're having our first men's circle on March 22nd. And that was just, community members just like stepping up, same thing we did. And so we have our first men's circle. It's Friday night. It is March 22nd. Super excited about that. So if you're feeling empowered and just like want to lead something and step into that and don't have any direction, we want to be that place for you to kind of do that trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Like, what better than like a supportive community to be like, hey, I have this idea and I want to share this thing. Like, can I share it on this platform? Yes, absolutely. Please come. Like, that's
for.
why we're doing it. So all the fun stuff there.
All right.
Okay, we're going to close now. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Expel all the energy out. Inhale, fill up. And then exhale, just let that shit go.
Thank you. We love
Love
you guys.
you.
We love you, Aspen. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say. It means the world. As always, we want to end this episode by reminding you that we are not medical professionals and we are not giving any type of medical advice. We are simply sharing our experience and solutions. We are here with the intentions of reminding you that you are never alone and that everyone's healing journey is unique to the individual. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms to stay updated. Stay well, Sacred Rebels. See you next time.